Welcome to Beyond Rockets. Hope you're having a great day. My name is Clark Dunn and I'm your host. Get ready to enjoy some awesome conversations from Huntsville locals about cool work they are doing right here in the Rocket City. You can connect with us on social media at Beyond Rockets, and if you're interested in doing a podcast yourself, I'd love to hear from you. You can visit my website, beyondrockets.com today, or connect with me on LinkedIn at Clark Dunn. Sit back and enjoy this episode of Beyond Rockets. This episode is sponsored by Yellowhammer Brewing. Yellowhammer is a local craft brewery serving Huntsville for the past 14 years. They are known for their premium craft beers like their T-Minus and Rebellion, but what you might not know is they also offer spirits, wine, seltzers, and non-alcoholic drinks. Next time you stop by their location, try one of their seasonal cocktails made with the Gemini Bourbon or the Yellowhammer Vodka, or try this year's big hit Pineapple Punch Seltzer. You can find out more information about Yellowhammer Brewery by visiting their website, yellowhammerbrewery.com, or visiting their tap room located at Campus 805. Well, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
I'm excited to have you on. Before we kind of get started, would you like to introduce yourself and we'll kind of begin there?
Sure. My name's Kamerra Liles, and I'm one of the AGMs over at the Orion Amphitheater. I work for TVG Hospitality, and new venture is a Lumberyard. So I run the operations team over at the Lumberyard currently, and just trying to get the word out that, hey, Lumberyard is revived and we're ready for guests to come join us.
Yeah. So you've been with TVG since the beginning with like the help of opening up like at the initial launch of the Orion.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about kind of what that experience was like. And were you in a background prior to this role at TVG doing something similar, or was this a whole new kind of opportunity for you?
Yeah, so I grew up in Hawaii, and my background was in events and community events particularly, and like running large staffs for community events for Pearl Harbor and Hickam Air Force Base and the city of Huntsville, or city of Hawaii, and just worked a lot at the state capitol there. So I think that my background there in Hawaii really groomed me to be very eye-opening experience to what the communities need in different locations and different cultures. And I loved growing up in Hawaii for that aspect too. We had so many different cultures and demographics there. And also our military that was always transient in and out. So that was really interesting. So when we moved here, my family and I moved here to Huntsville in 2020, I started doing some marketing for some smaller corporations and event-based situations and helping out with weddings and different event planning. And originally I moved here for a job with the FBI as a community outreach specialist. And then that fell through once I got here because they were switching over all the FBI departments and things. And Redstone wasn't quite equipped yet at that time for all the FBI to come in. And so just was kind of doing some freelance stuff for a little bit until 2022 when the Orion Amphitheater was starting to really hire for different positions. And I would go to the amp every day and see, because my kid was going to Madison Academy, and would just see it on the way. And I was like, that's where I'm going to work.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was just kind of like one of those things where I was bugging Ryan Murphy and the HR department at the time, and every single week, like, hey, interview me. And then landed the job as front of house manager first at the Orion that April, right before we opened up.
Wow.
And trained the guest services assistants, and then dabbled a little bit in the hospitality and food and beverage department. And then now last year I got promoted to one of the assistant general managers.
Awesome. Yeah. And it's an incredible journey from Hawaii to Huntsville to FBI to Orion to Lumber. I mean, it's all over the place, it seems like, but it's incredible just to see, the impact the Orion has for anybody everybody that's listening or watching knows the impact. The impact it's been here in Huntsville is evident. I mean, y'all are on is it fourth season?
Fourth season.
Which is crazy to think about because it seems like you've been here forever, but it also seems like you just started yesterday. Like yeah. It's such a weird dynamic.
I always say every show is like a fresh start too, because you never know. We all are the same, right? All of our staff, there's like 348 hourly staff members, about 30 managers that run the Orion. But every show is different because the guests that come through are always different. So like for a Billy String show, you have a Billy String shirt on today. Like those those guests travel all over the
Yeah.
country and the world with Billy. And it's amazing. Like, we'll get some of them that return to us each year that Billy comes. But then other times it's just a whole brand new, different kind of people. And so it is fresh every single time. And the Orion loves to pull in that community aspect too. So you'll notice a lot of our vendors, like our food trucks, or we'll do different activations around our site that are local to Huntsville. So not only is that our give back to the community and helping our local partners here, but it also gives a little taste of Huntsville and our hospitality here to those guests that are traveling in from out of town.
Yeah, and so if anyone that's listening, we've had Ryan Murphy, the managing director, on the podcast twice. So there's 2 episodes out there. One came out shortly around that first season, and one came out last fall. So you can definitely check out those for a full dive into what the Orion is and kind of its impact. Today, we're talking about the Lumberyard, which, I mean, anyone that's a Huntsville native kind of knows of the Lumberyard, but for maybe those that aren't familiar, give us a little background on what the Lumberyard was and kind of the process for the Orion to get it and make it into what it is today.
Definitely. So originally, like, its original name is A.M. Booth Lumberyard, and it was just like that, A.M. Booth Lumberyard. It was a lumberyard where the trains would drop off the lumber. We have the kiln, which is one of our bars, and we've kept the name the kiln because that's where the wood would be dried out inside the kiln. So it's like the fire and everything. So if you're familiar with lumberyard or lumber yards in general, they needed a large space that it could be right on the train tracks, and they would organize the lumber and sell it. And a lot of lumber yards around Huntsville, even like 84 Lumber, it's right on the train track out of County Line Road. I know a lot about lumber because my husband's in the lumber industry. So, but yeah, so we've kind of kept that same feel of giving it from the 1800s when it opened, and that kind of like a nod to A.M. Booth and what it originally was here in Huntsville. And then it was an automotive shop after that. And then Doug Smith and Jessica his daughter Jessica took it over a little bit later and turned it into an event space. And Lone Goose has been in there, Hatch started there, like a whole bunch of these different businesses all around town were pretty much conceived at the Lumberyard, and now they've grown bigger and better, and they are staples here in our city. So the Lumberyard's been one of those places where not only can you go hang out with your friends or have a business there, but now we've taken it over as TVG Hospitality. And it's just become like another sister venue to the Orion, just like Saturn is in Birmingham. And we're just expanding the amount of venues that TVG has here in the United States, because at our core, we love music, we love events, we love community events, but we are a hospitality company, and any way that we can bring great hospitality and a great experience to our guests and also the people that work with us is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And Lumberyard's just another entity for us to do that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think the last time I went to the Lumberyard prior to y'all reopening it this year, I guess it was probably 2019-ish.
Yeah, before COVID.
Right before COVID, they did I won a AAF, Alabama Advertising Federation award for my podcast while I was a student at UAH, and they had our awards there. And so it was like the first time I had been there. It was like it was either like in 2019 or right before, like in 2020, early, right before COVID. And so to kind of see it now, I mean, you've, like you said, you've kept that the uniqueness that Lumberyard was and is always has been. You've kept, but you've also modernized a little bit of the amenities, the spaces. Talk a little bit about that process. Like, how long was that process from y'all getting it to, officially having that first trial run of people coming in to now currently doing pop-ups and events?
Yeah, so they were still doing a couple, like Jessica and Doug were doing a couple of events during COVID still back then. And that was when we had taken on the project and purchased the building from them and started kind of working with them in tandem to revive the space. And then it kind of just fell to the side for a little bit. And then because TVG had a ton of other projects going on. And then over the last year, it really sprung new life. And TVG and Jessica vamped the whole main locations of it and started gutting everything. And we went in as an operations team to see how operationally we could do it as a food and beverage company, and see how we can better each thing that we do there, not only for private events, but also for our different activations that we do as house activations. I kind of like to call them homegrown activations, because we want people to have the same sort of guest experience that's elevated and dynamic, just like the Orion does at all of our venues across. So we started bringing that to the Lumberyard too. Right now we're in phase 1. There is another phase to Lumberyard that will kick off maybe later next year. And so we're in the development process of that. So just be looking out because it's always going to be added to. But right now in phase 1, we are a event space. So you can rent us out again, like for your award ceremony. Companies can do that, or retirement ceremonies. We're doing weddings, receptions, all different kinds of things. But we're also doing our homegrown events like Thursday trivia and a singer-songwriters night. On Tuesdays, we're doing a food hub. It's called the Huntsville Farm and Food Hub. It's kind of a tongue twister. There's a lot of H's. And so we're doing that. And Ryan Murphy is actually involved in that, and his wife, Lauren. And so we're having a bunch of different growers and farmers and meat producers here, all within a 100-mile radius of Huntsville, bring their product to the Lumberyard. And we're doing this really unique market where you can pre-order items or also just go there. And so from 4 to 7 every Tuesday, you come in and get your fresh meats or fresh produce. And then one Tuesday out of the month, we're doing the singer-songwriters night with Rob Aldridge and the artists that he brings in. So a lot of cool activations all the time. So you need to really just be checking our socials. Or you can email me and I'll tell you what's up, or create an event for you. But we don't want it is primarily a private event space in its current state, but we don't want you to only think of that too, because there are ways that the community can come out and just hang out, like Perseus Coffee or Perseus Soundbar is doing their coffee pop-up with us right now because they're about to open up in Mid-City. So it's kind of like a community partnership to promote them and their new company. We did a pop-up last month with Sparrow Coffee and Onward Coffee to promote them as well. And so it was just like a cool space for people to come during the week from 8 to 1 and have a cup of coffee, take meetings at our spaces and just explore. Or we had a lot of college students studying or homeschool moms bringing their kids to do homeschool work there. And so that was kind of neat to see that space activated that way. So we have that going on right now. It's Wednesday through Fridays for the coffee pop-ups from 8 to 1, where you can just come and hang out, or you can rent us out for a small dinner or anything. We do have 4 preferred caterers that we work with, but you'll always get that excellent and dynamic hospitality that we offer at the Orion there.
Yeah, and so obviously it's a fairly new thing to kind of have this activation for Huntsville at the Lumberyard. You've just started this year. What has been the general response from the community with these events? Have you gotten feedback as far as events they would love to see or things they would love to, be offered or whatever it might be? I know I was at one of the first events you did where you had a bunch of the preferred caterers there set up, and we were able to kind of go around and try different stuff. And that was awesome to see the space for the first time after y'all had taken it over and reopened it. But what has been the general response you've gotten?
I think people are just really excited that it's reopened, and they're curious to see what TVG is going to do with it, and how we're just going to keep expanding on it. And they really Huntsville loves outdoor spaces is what I've noticed. And the more outdoor spaces we can add to our community, the better, in my opinion. So we are dog friendly, we're kid friendly, we're friend friendly, bring everybody out. And so we will continue to add more events. We're doing Nightlife by Zoe, a residency with her for once a month for the next couple of months. Local musician Gorio is putting together a variety show for us in August. So the capacity of the venue currently stands at about 530 with our indoor-outdoor spaces. And so you can rent us out, or you can, if you're a promoter, you can contact me and we can see how we can get you to have a little show inside the Lumberyard. So you never know. We do have the 2 different locations for shows that we can do. We can do it inside the kiln on the kiln stage or outside in the courtyard. And it's just very versatile because it is an indoor-outdoor space. But with that, it is like rain or shine sort of situation too, which we're very used to at the Orion. So we're great at helping out all of our community promoters and different things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I've seen just already in that short amount of time, the amount of events, the amount of things that I was looking at y'all's social media before you got here, and just the variety that you've talked about, and just kind of, you're kind of touching a little bit of a market in a variety of different, a variety of different markets all at once by having the space and being able to cultivate it into what it's becoming. And it's incredible too, just to see that the similarities with the Orion and Lumberyard and kind of the overarching TVG Hospitality. I mean, there is that, it's a hospitality first, like you mentioned. It's about the experience of the guest, not necessarily, hey, we're a music venue.
Yeah.
And I think that's the cool thing, because I think that's really there's pretty much any show we see on the schedule for the Orion or wherever it might be, we're always like, well, like, I kind of like their stuff, but I really like the Orion.
That's what we
and
like
so
to hear.
that's the transition where it's like, okay, like let's do this. And then like it's so much fun just to walk around and like be there and be a part of it and be in the atmosphere. And I think that's like a testament just to what y'all have been able to create. As people were listening to this is probably going to be early July. We've talked a little bit about some of the events, some of the things that may be still going on. Is there anything that you can kind of allude to what's going to be, any cool events happening this into the summer, fall kind of time frame for the Lumberyard?
Yeah, so we also have Native Petals. That is one of our tenants right outside of our gates. And Taylor Sweets is amazing. And she is a florist right there. And so not only is she one of our preferred florists for weddings and different things, but she's going to start offering some workshops at the Lumberyard. We have great success as a food and beverage team putting on cocktail classes and different bar crawls and festivals and different things. So our food and beverage team is taking some of what we've done at the Orion that we do in our winter time during our off season, and we're going to do that during the summertime at Lumberyard and kind of shake it up a little bit. And no pun intended with shaky though. But yeah, so we're going to start offering some cocktail classes in July and August and September at the Lumberyard specifically. We are planning a wine festival there as well in the fall. So that'll be a ticketed event where you can come in and try all the different wines and have pairings with different foods. We're working with Chef Josh from Odette, who's our back-of-house caterer and has his brick and mortar at the Orion too. So we'll be partnering with him on that. So a lot of fun food and beverage activations on top of the trivia night and the singer-songwriter and the farm hub that I've already mentioned. So you just really have to check it out. And then we're just looking for local promoters that want to promote local bands or bands within this general region that want to put on shows and partner with us in that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, with phase 1 in process right now, I think we're going to have you back on the podcast in a couple of years to talk about phase 2. Because I'm excited just to kind of see what that future area is going to look like. I mean, there's so much construction that's happening, even right out front. I think they're putting like a taco place right outside of
that side of it.
And so there's just so much happening in that area. So I'm super excited to kind of just give the audience a sort of an idea of what's going on there now. Things are happening. Go there, visit, and I think we'll have links to everything in the episode notes. We'll have links to events and all of the stuff. So if anyone wants to find out what's happening as they are listening to this, visit those links below. But I appreciate you being here today.
Yeah. I mean, if we can dream it, we're going to try to figure out how to operate it. Yeah. And that's just kind of like the way that we are. And you mentioned how it's so great for our guest experience too, but part of my whole world is making sure that our employees have a great experience too, a great place for them to work, because we feel like if they're loving their job and they're trained properly and they believe in what we're doing, then that's going to come out to our guests and also the artists or the promoters or the vendors that we bring in. So it is a very well-rounded sphere, I guess, of making sure hospitality is always at that core, not only for the guests, but for our fellow employees. And then also for any community person that we bring in the door to help us put on an event.
Yeah, I mean, I think as someone who loves the Orion and loves what TVG is doing, I think it's evident that y'all are that well-rounded approach that you have to not only the community but your employees and everything in between. The people I know people that work at the Orion and work at the TVG Hospitality, and they have nothing. They were in the same boat as you when you were applying. I see what they're doing and I want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And they're eager and they're passionate and they are driven to create that experience, not only for people that are in town in Huntsville, that are locals that are going to these things, but also people that are coming in from out of town. I mean, I think that's going to kind of continue to be a narrative of what TVG is doing here, is that you're going to have people that are going to be visiting to be a part of it because it's going to be so cool and so unique for the area.
Yeah. And it really, like, for your listeners, always be checking on TVG Hospitality's website too to like see what the new things are that we're doing as a whole company in the United States, because no matter where you're traveling, like you might be down in California and want to check out our new venue over there, or be in Birmingham and check out Saturn. Like we are offering so many different shows, so many different activations, so much great hospitality all the time, that just see where we're at and go see us.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being here. We'll have everything in the episode notes, links to everything. And we'll be sure to have you back on the podcast in a couple of years to talk a little bit about Phase 2.
I would love that.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Beyond Rockets. Don't forget you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen and on YouTube at Beyond Rockets. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Beyond Rockets to stay up to date with new episodes as they are released. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.